Swagat, Namaste, wherever you are. We are your hosts, Prashant, Siddharth, and Jatan. We are three guys getting together every week, talking about cricket and having a good time. Welcome to the Cow Corner. Enjoy. So, episode 2, today we're going to talk about, or this week we're going to talk about the Ashes. And we thought, let's wait till the Ashes are done before we do the Ashes episode. But Ashes are basically done. Some people seem surprised, and I've heard a little bit of comments from the English coach that they had hopes and they had ambitions and all that. This went exactly how you would have expected it to go. 3-0 Australia. I mean, just thinking about this gives me goosebumps. How prepared this team always is. Their professionalism is unbelievable. Sometimes maybe they cross the line, but ignoring that, their preparedness, if that's the word, is unbelievable on all fronts. Their body language is usually spot on. Their match awareness is unbelievable. And every player who is on the ground, whether they are 12th man or not, when they are wearing that baggy green and they are playing for Australia, they have an entirely different mindset. The catch Labuschagne took yesterday in front of Carey, when I was watching it, I thought that catch got dropped because it didn't reach Carey. Carey fell down, and I'm like, what happened here? And then sure enough, Labuschagne took the catch. I mean, fair enough. If Labuschagne would have dropped it, you would be like, oh, why did he do it? No, but they all want to go for it and win. So 3-0 win was a given. I mean, the best team won, and they're just phenomenal. Every test had different heroes and MVPs, but in nutshell, this is the Australian team taking on the English and beating them all ends up. That's why just slight tangent, but India performing so well in Australia, sometimes you wonder, like, you take on the best. So
anyway, beating Australia or even competing against Australia is in Australia is hard. And this English team, the cracks have been there for some time, right? India with a brand new captain going to England, and they were just about almost outplayed in a lot of sessions. With that preparation, England coming to Australia and trying to make a match of it. The first two games were kind of just terrible washouts. But they started giving some fight in the third game. Not really enough at the end of it. As you said, they come as a pack of wolves, Australia, right? They don't give you an inch. You got to take your inches, but if you expect them to give you anything, that's not possible. That's how they play the game. As you said, sometimes they go overboard, but let's appreciate what they do, right? What they do right. So yeah, I mean, total, complete, one-sided whitewash. Glad to see some rear guard action from England. Hopefully, it sets up next two tests better if England has it in them to give some fight. But 11 days to win the Ashes. Yeah,
unbelievable.
For me, I have to pick a winner. I would pick one person who kind of was most effective or most. He kind of changed the entire series. I think it was Travis Head. He's been showing flashes of brilliance. He won the World Cup for them. He's becoming probably their most important player or most important batsman. He had a couple of centuries. He was important when I think they won the World Test Championships against India. He won the World Cup final against India, right? So it's not just against India, but also when Australia need him, he's there. I guess Khwaja couldn't play one of the games, and he got promoted to the top of the order.
Yeah.
And he just took that place. I think it's his for the near future, right? And the thing is, when Head clicks, which he does more often than not, even if the opposition bowlers have plan Bs and Cs, apparently that those don't work either, right? Once he gets going, it's just impossible to stop him almost, right? So you either get him early or you bear the brunt. So he's Gilly-like, Sehwagish, right? Whatever you want to call it, right? But very effective, very dangerous once he gets into stride, and which he more often than not does, right? He's reasonably consistent also, right? He may think that there is madness to his method, but there is still a method which works well for him, right? As long as you don't get him outside off in the initial part of his innings, he makes you pay for it. And for me, he's the guy.
I mean, interestingly, you said madness to his method and method to his madness. Both is true. It's and every time I think about Travis Head, I think about his bat his outside off, like the way he flicks that, it's just,
Yeah,
I mean, it's he's ready. He's ready to hit the ball.
yeah,
Body like really hardly loses shape. Only time I think when he
yeah.
tried to maybe pull it up and when he got out, but he never loses his shape and he is just he's yeah, he
We
a winner
we
for
say
sure.
we say Rohit has a lot of time. I think he also has a lot of time, right?
And he's a
Uh,
lefty.
so, yeah. So yeah, I mean, and also one other thing that I really think we don't talk about enough is the fact that it gives a really good option as a slow bowler, right? As a part
Yeah.
time, or probably not even part time, better than a part time, but he gives that edge, right? Um, Again, a lot of the matches that you've seen, right? He'll give you that breakthrough. That's something that I kind of, again, maybe I'm digressing a bit, but that's something that I kind of don't like in our Indian cricket team, right? There's nobody in the top players who can roll their arm anymore, right? Back in the days when we had the Sehwags, the Sachins, the Yuvrajas, right? So they were more than capable bowlers, even Raina, right? Except Dravid, I think everybody bowled, even Ganguly. So right now we don't have those kind of people who can just
Yeah.
roll their arm, right? Give some variety to the attack. I'm sure people probably don't plan for them as much, and that's why Head becomes, or even Labushin, right?
Yeah.
But that's what brings in, right? Not just the attacking
Yeah.
opening batsman, but also somebody who can give you a few overs if your fast bowlers are tired,
I mean,
or give you a
yesterday
breakthrough.
when third test when Lyon was injured, he was consciously trying to hit that rough patch. I mean, he wasn't just bowling mindlessly some
No,
variety, just like a filler. Nobody is a filler there in that team.
no, that's the thing, right? So that's what, if Head can give you those overs if Lyon's injured, and that's a good point. I forgot to bring that up, but yeah, I mean he kept one end going, right. Yes, you lost your probably your best spinner, but then you made sure that Stark and folks are fresh enough to get those wickets. Yeah,
So you're saying for you, Travis Head is the winner. Maybe generalizing here a bit, but is Australia's bowling lineup. I mean, when Ashes
yeah.
started, even before Ashes, they were saying they were feeling encouraged. The British team were by knowing Cummins is going to be out and injured. They were looking for hopes, and hope is never a strategy. Yeah, Cummins and Josh Hazelwood didn't play the first two tests, but Mitchell Stark was on fire. I mean,
Nasser, I mean,
Nasir,
he's
Nasir,
he's
and what is it?
very
Doggett?
underestimated. Looks like.
It's
And
just
straight out
unbelievable.
of the team next match.
Yeah. He's like, yeah, you've done your job. I mean, this is like
Oh man.
professionalism at its absolute best. Doggett
Yeah,
was
yeah.
there. And I heard about Doggett that it seems he was a carpenter, I think earlier before becoming a
Wow,
cricketer. Yeah, he was a carpenter by trade and then became a cricketer. So their bowling lineup is just again unbelievable. There is
they keep
Boland
coming.
there,
They
and
keep coming.
then they keep coming. And then after two tests, Cummins comes back and he's coming at you all the time and was effective. There is no, hey, I am easing in, I haven't played for a little bit. None of that. I mean, Mitchell Stark was on fire, both
Yeah.
batting and bowling. But the Australia's bowling lineup is just, and clarity of roles again, right? There is Cameron Green, but you're not relying on him too much. There are bowlers, true bowlers who can bat.
Who can bat?
Their role
Exactly.
is their role
Nasser
is
comes and bats. Stark can make a 50 anytime.
there's no
Yeah.
confusion though. Hey,
No.
if Stark isn't taking wicket, he's being criticized. Nobody's saying, oh, but he batted. Like, no, he needs to take wickets. Boland, Nasir, Doggett, we talked about Travis Head, Lyon.
Yeah.
Obviously, I mean the couple of balls
He
he took
got a
wickets.
chance. Yeah, he got a chance. I mean, the Stokes wicket was fabulous.
Oh, unbelievable! Stokes
Unbelievable.
was completely. He was standing there admiring the ball.
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
sometimes yeah, maybe he could have come a little bit more forward. I don't know, but it was definitely a great ball.
oh,
Yeah,
he got beaten in the flight. Then
yeah,
clearly,
that's what, right? He didn't come forward because of a reason, right? So yeah, exactly. So
so
interest very well. Yeah, so I guess yeah,
for me, winner is
Boland's
Australia's
yeah.
bowling lineup. That just
Even without Cummins, even without Josh Hazelwood, and even without picking Lyon, which was, I think, almost blasphemous, right? But they didn't pick Lyon. Can
yeah.
you believe that? So um, it's ominous, right? Ominous signs, because if Michael Nesser can come and take a fifer, and if yeah, the other guys just step up. Um, I mean, this great bench strength, and yeah, teams should look out. I mean, they should teams should be worried that okay, after Cummins, whenever Cummins or Hazelwood or Stark retire, nobody's going to get it, have it easy. So,
At all.
I would hope
So
so, but that's not going to happen.
no, and I'm sure there are other people we haven't heard of who are
Yeah.
going to come up, and when they're there, they need to perform. Professionalism. I always admired that about the
Though,
Australian team.
yeah. Though a couple
Professionalism.
of years back, I was wondering that what's the next wave of Australian fast bowlers going to be like. But I think it's getting better. It's getting a bit clearer now. I think they're in good hands.
So Siddharth, who is your winner?
So, I mean, there are a lot of easy answers. There's Head, Carey, Cummins, Stark. I mean, everyone on Australia's team is a winner. That is for sure the case. But to me, I just wanted to maybe bring someone to the spotlight that, you know, when in 20 years, when they talk about how England lost in 11 days in Australia, they might not talk about this man, and that's Scott Boland.
Yeah.
So Scott Boland, during the series, he actually started off quite poorly in the first match at Perth, going for 62 runs in 10 overs with no wickets.
Wow.
And I think there's always question, no Pat Cummins. And of course, Mitchell Stark is there and he took 10 wickets in the match, 7 in the first inning. So maybe there just wasn't enough room for him to take wickets because Stark took 7 of them. But I think there were serious doubts or questions about his ability as a frontline bowler and whether or not he was more than just a replacement. And I think Boland in that second innings went 4 for 33. He has shown that he can take both the wickets of top order batsmen, as he dismissed Duckett, Pope, and Brooke multiple times, as well as cleaning up the tail, as he had dismissed Archer and Tongue and Atkinson a couple of times as well. I'm not sure about a couple of times for each of them, but I think maybe Tongue, I think he got out a couple of times, and Archer, I think he got out more than once too. And I think
Yeah.
maybe he isn't the alpha Mitchell Stark level bowler, but he is a frontline bowler, as in he is a starter in that team. And I think,
I agree with you.
barring the first innings of the first match, 4 wickets in the second innings of that match, only 3 wickets in the second Test match, but he crucially held England to 2.76 economy over 17 overs in the second innings. And you talk about someone who just builds pressure, hits the right, and then you compare that to Bryden, maybe his opposite number I would consider Bryden Cars, and the way he bowled to Travis Head in the first Test. I mean, it's just day and night. That the discipline that this guy bowls with is phenomenal.
I'm with you.
And he might not take wickets, but his economy will always be under 3.
And just think out loud, a winner is someone who can fight through things, who's always in the game, giving his best. Every time I see Scott Boland, just his body language is very sincere. He's like always giving you 100%, and he has skills. I mean, if you look at 3 wickets, right? 3 wickets out of 20 isn't exactly nothing. It's like 15%.
And then he is the number 11 batsman, right?
Oh yeah.
But it isn't that he just gets out without trying, right?
He's a night watchman,
In
right?
in the series, he scored 10 runs in every single innings that he batted in.
Isn't he their
Um,
designated night watchman?
I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Maybe. He
Yeah,
might be.
Scotty Boland
It
shows
makes
up when
sense.
it's yeah.
So I mean, he can stick around, play with higher order
Agree.
batsmen at the end as well. He's a very gritty, he's a very easy player to support. He's the big Victorian seamer. So he was my winner from this series. I think once Hazelwood comes back, sadly, I think he will come back. He will walk right back into the team as he should. I mean, Hazelwood is great. But I think Boland, again, like he just keeps making sure he's doing the right things. And
I mean, isn't another factor, Siddharth, of winners is even if you're a bench player, right, and you can maybe apply that to a lot of other sports that even you have played, where if you're a bench player, you always need to be ready to get in.
oh yeah.
There isn't much difference between a bench, being on the bench and being in the match. You need to be actually even more ready to
Mm-hmm.
go. Yeah, it's
Mm-hmm.
cool. I agree with
Uh,
you. Great
and it
choice.
and it just body language wise, I mean, to reiterate your point, it seems like he's content in his role, right? There doesn't seem to be, and we can't get in the minds of players, of course. You can just
Sure.
judge what you see on the TV or on the field. But there doesn't seem to be that level of ego, that level of expectation on oneself to perform either, right? He just goes and like executes. He's just all about the execution. And sometimes he won't execute, but I think that mentality is very admirable. So
His background also is a pretty. He is, I think he has native
yep,
Australian
he has
heritage.
Aboriginal roots. We
Yeah.
saw that in the test, right? They went into that a little
Yeah.
bit in the
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. That's true.
little Amazon Prime video plug, but yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
Yeah, and of course, I mean, my initial thing was Stark. Obviously, he's the big winner, but he wins. He wins in everything, right? Like we need a someone who someone who wasn't necessarily expected to win. He didn't even start well, but at the end, he showed his level. So I think he would be my winner.
So the flip side of the winners is the losers. Um, you want to pick your losers, Chetan? Where we say, I mean, there are a number of
I,
factors, but in this segment, we are picking maybe that one thing we feel is the biggest loser.
yeah, I actually want to probably generalize here is England's top order, not the entire batting, because I think from root onwards, I think they're pretty decent and pretty good. I think Brook, the way he plays, can get a bit frustrating, but then we get frustrated with Pant also. But I mean, you want him
Yeah.
on the team. But
Yep.
the top three have to just go. I mean, I don't forget my liking, but Crawley and Duckett and Pope, especially, right? Pope will probably talk more on a different section, but um, England's top three is not good. They can't win Test series, neither in England nor outside. With those three at the top three as the top three, I think all three should go. Maybe Duckett, maybe not. Maybe I don't know. I'm not the selector, but if I was the selector, I would just replace all three of them, unless you don't have anybody else, which will be very hard to believe. But probably is what 30 average. I don't know what Duckett's average is. Probably not even 40. Pope, uh, we'll talk about him. But for me, if your top three are Crawley, Duckett, and Pope, um, yeah, and you're not going to win test matches. Not test series at least. Sure, Crawley made some runs in a couple of innings, but just too unpredictable and blindly following the baseball thing or whatever, right? I think that's again there should be a method to that madness, right? Looks like there isn't. If it gets put, if it comes off, it comes off. Otherwise, I think apart from all of this, I think Harry Brook probably is plays does better, and you can see in his performance, right? He's generally more successful than not, even by following that process. I don't think the top three are capable of doing what Stokes wants them to do, and that's I think they are the reason, and that's what I feel is. There's a big difference between these two teams. Yeah. So for me, it's the England top order, which should just go away. Frankly.
Yep. No, I'm totally actually with you. My loser, and again I'm staying generalized here, is England's one-dimensional approach to batting. And again, it's fine to start with that. It's fine to build that culture. This is Test cricket. You better understand the situation. And yesterday is maybe one example of Jamie Smith, the way he got out. You know, he hit four boundaries and then tried to hit another one. And I'm like, you have a match in your hand. You potentially could
And
have
you
won the
had there
match.
was a chance. They had a definite chance, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And
then you
then
maybe
all
the explanation is ki, oh, I came up till here by doing this, but really not, right? I mean, if you make, as you said, if I've not really followed it ball by ball, but if you are if you have scored so many runs in that over, and let's play it with the merit of the ball, right? I mean,
that's what I
yeah,
mean by one
it was a
dimensional.
cross-barrel shot again. Yeah.
Just one dimensional approach. And it's fine to start with that, saying, hey, that's our method. We're going to approach game in this certain way. We're going to threaten so that people are scared. We're going to chase down 450, 500. That's cool. Once
And
you do
that's great.
that,
Yeah.
yeah,
Mm.
once you do
Very
that,
scary. Mm.
you use that to your advantage, not to expose yourself and saying, "Oh, this is a one-dimensional team." So, maybe something will change, and if they address the actual skills issue, which I think is both, right? One is attitude, the other is aptitude. Do you have the aptitude to do something?
Right.
Do you have the ability? So the top three players don't seem that way. I mean, the whole Ollie Pope, the way he got out, also, you feel that he's just waiting to get out. Like, save me
Yeah.
of my misery. I want to be out of here.
Not
So
even 20 runs for average. But again, we'll talk about him later. But yeah, not. I don't think their batsmen, the top three batsmen, are up to international standard. Frankly, they've been lucky enough to. I think they have a very strong middle order, which kind of bails them out a lot of the times. And yes, maybe Duckett made 100 here and there. And the hundreds they make the top order, that's pretty fast, so it kind of
yeah,
impacts the game definitely decisively sometimes. But it's not consistent enough, right? Brook is consistent. Root is Root, right? Stokes is getting there, and he's done enough. I mean, he's good. But I think Jamie Smith is a great batsman. But the top three, yeah,
has to go, and they have to readjust their method to keep other people guessing. So
yeah,
my loser in this thing is just one-dimensional approach of
yeah.
England's batting lineup, at least. And bowling, they don't have an approach. It's we should talk about that, England's bowling, at
Yeah,
some
so I
point.
mean, I kind of hinted at, like, I said Bryden Cars. I think he's a very, very big loser from this series in general because just the way he bowled was was not the quality of a number two bowler. But even beyond that, Bryden Cars, maybe he's young, it's fine. Ollie Pope in eight Ashes or in eight Test matches against Australia. Do you want to guess what his average is? Eight matches, 16 innings. What is his highest score? And what do you think his average is?
30, 25.
That's being very generous. His top score is 45 in eight matches against Australia, and his average is 17. And I think there's levels to how much he's losing right now, in my opinion. So Mama was suggesting, maybe just take them all out, right? Take out Ben Duckett, take out Zach Crawley, which Zach Crawley, again, major, major disappointment. I mean, you remember I used to be enamored with maybe he is that tall guy who can play the bounce on the up from the
Yeah.
good end, but
He
you
played
see,
one shot, by the way, in the last night when I was watching. He played really one shot on the up, and they're like, that's no beautiful side than blah. But
yeah. But
anyway,
then, yeah.
yeah,
So, anyways, he could very easily be a loser as well. But I think Ollie Pope is under so much pressure at that very, very crucial position in the team. And I mean, he must be majorly disappointed in his average. He must be very aware, right? I think Mark Waugh said he was just a player, right? A few moments before his dismissal. So the pressure is clearly on him, and people don't rate him very highly. But when you look at what's behind him, everyone points at Jacob Bethel. Jacob Bethel is not ready to play in the Ashes. He just isn't. He isn't good enough. I mean, he hasn't scored any runs in the Prime Minister 11 match. He or he didn't score any. He hasn't been scoring runs in against Australia A. I mean, the England Lions were getting dog walked essentially by Australia A's team. Nathan McSweeney, I think, scored a double hundred. I'm sure, and you think about Shoaib Bashir is getting tonked all over the park.
Sure.
So they're really, it almost feels like just like there's no solution other than Ollie Pope finding form. And as a player, when you're struggling, when you know that it's on you to find form in after losing a series 3-0, I think it's just a very, very tough place to be mentally. No, I don't wish any bad thing on any player, but
Yeah.
he's probably the biggest loser for me. I mean, he I don't think the expectations were very high, to be quite frank. But even so, he underdelivered, which I think is a
No,
bit
I think
major
it's fair.
disappointment. Major
That's
disappointment. Yeah.
yeah, maybe England should try, what India tried and failed is send like some random person at number three.
No, 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 no. Like
Okay,
I
fine.
mean, I always harp about this that the 11 players that are on the test team need to be you need to believe in your heart they are the 11 best players in your country.
Yeah.
And I think if they in their heart believe that Ben Duckett, Zach Crawley, and Ollie Pope are the best top three that England has in tests, they should keep going with them, even if they're failing.
Mm,
Because
interesting.
they're actually, Mama was saying, is I can't believe there's nobody else. Actually, there isn't anybody else, sadly. I think England's depth has been tested sort of by having to have faith in these players to continue to find form instead of bringing fresh blood. They can't bring any fresh blood. They don't have any.
MVP, most valuable player for Ashes.
I think for me it was Alex Carey for Australia. Um, and there are a few things, right? I mean, I think he's brought a lot of solidity to Australian middle order. I frankly am very pleasantly surprised at the way he's been batting. And but beyond that, right? I think the way he keeps, I think is he the best keeper in the world right now?
Oh my God.
Standing up to Nasser, standing up to I don't know Cummins. I don't
Bolan,
know if he did that.
Bolan, all the
Bowler,
time.
yeah. Just to make sure that the bowlers' lengths are not. I mean, I think it's a pretty big sacrifice. Maybe sacrifice a pretty big thing to stand up to a fast bowler of that pace, just so that the batsman doesn't stand out of his crease, so that the bowler doesn't lose his length. I think that's great, and then be able to take those balls. And it's a test match; it's not a T20, right? Maybe
Yeah.
what 50, 100 balls at that speed in the gloves is amazing, and it's like really a revelation to me. Yeah, of Carey's keeping skills. It's very hard what he's doing. Let's make no mistake about that. So yeah, for me, that part plus his consistent batting throughout the series stood apart. I mean, there were many other performances, but overall over the series, I think it was Carey for me. How
I
about
agree. I agree with you actually, and that might lend us into our next segment of what the heck. So I'm going to combine the two. What the heck is where we talk about some really, unbelievable things that you see not too often, but when you see them. So for me, MVP, if I have to pick one player, again, the MVP really is Australia's bowling lineup, no question. But as a player, Alex Carey for sure. Even when he walks out to bat, again, lefty batter, aggressive if need be. He can score a 50, right? Not 30, 40. He can score a 50, 50 plus, 80,
very
could get you
fast too?
100, right?
Mm.
He'll give you 100. And so for sure, MVP would be Alex Carey because using a baseball analogy here, the catcher actually calls the game, right? In baseball, he's calling the pitches,
Yeah.
and in sync with the pitcher, Carey and the bowlers are like totally in sync. When he comes up to Bolan, makes Bolan an entirely different bowler, I would say, and to be able to bowl without worrying, this dude is right there bowl with that freedom and the bounce, right? Bowling, these are tall bowlers. They bowl, you're not standing up because the ball is keeping low. It's up and down a little bit. It could be in your face. So, something you saw, and I'm like, that's and doing it well again. It's not just attitude, right?
Yeah.
Having the aptitude and skills to do it. Like yesterday, I was watching one time, one of the edges for the ninth wicket, I think, hit his forearm, Alex Carey's, and he couldn't catch it. He couldn't get out of the way. And then
You
he
can't at that
realized,
speed.
he's like,
And there's
hey,
a deflection, right?
Labuschagne would have gotten it. What he did,
Yeah.
he actually stepped away after that. He's like, I think maybe I don't need to stand up anymore. We're going to get these wickets anyways. But playing that mind game, but not just for the sake of it, backing it up with skills it's just for me what the heck was seeing Carey do that consistently. You see
Yeah.
that you see some wicket keepers do that, but just for a little bit as a almost a tactic trick,
Mm.
and then they go back. This guy was he was
There,
there.
I don't know how many he caught there. Again, I haven't didn't get the chance to watch it ball by ball, but yeah, it looks like he was up there across matches for many sessions. Yeah.
Yeah, and just even stumping that he did
Mm.
of Zach Crawley, I think Crawley
Crawley,
stump
Crawley, yeah,
was
yeah,
unbelievable.
So MVP, I think it has to. I heard Carey head, but I think the real show of the start, the show of the Stark of the show, um, was Mitchell Stark.
Yeah.
So,
Oh my God.
first I think best career Ashes figures in the first test, 10 wicket haul, um, and contributing 150 runs at the bat as well. Um, and then crucially in that second innings, that partnership with Boland to ensure that Australia bowled with the new ball and with the new pink ball under the lights was just. I mean, you think it's just so experienced. They're just levels, right? Like they're just you look up and down Australia's bowling and team, and you just see that there's just levels to the game that England just haven't achieved. They just haven't
Yeah.
achieved. Their players haven't achieved as much as Mitchell Stark or Pat Cummins have, especially the bowlers. And I mean that difference in quality and experience, and it just showed. And then of course Stark. I mean, this guy is like what 37, and he's bowling 147, 48 Ks. Like, and you cannot find a more intimidating bowler in any team than Mitchell Stark. I have hardly ever seen. Only person I've seen Mitchell Stark getting into a fight with is Kyron Pollard, with that like infamous incident with him throwing the bat at Stark, right?
Sure.
Because no one wants to pick on that guy. He's a big dude. He's gonna bounce you, and he'll hurt you with the bat too if you get him angry enough. So I mean, his batting is just. I think his batting was one of the great
Yeah,
parts
I
of it.
remember seeing a couple of his shots that were like, shortish ball that he was hitting it up over the covers. I mean,
Mhm.
I think, and it's also interesting that he broke Wasim Akram's record, right, during the series, which is
Yep, yep.
really, and if just even being compared with Wasim Akram is amazing. People are arguing he might be, and less tests. I was just checking his stats, less number of test matches than Wasim Akram. I
No,
mean, obviously, I would also say
played in
Wasim,
Australia then versus Pakistan. Yeah.
sure, but Wasim Akram also had good partners he was bowling with, at least good part of his career. But
Yep.
regardless, maybe Akram is an absolute, for lack of a word, a freak. But
You probably, I think one way of maybe putting it, I think Wasim Akram was probably a more skilled bowler than Stark. You could actually swing the ball both ways. You could
yeah,
reverse it with either way as well. So in terms of swing, and then at his peak, his pace was right up there.
yeah.
I think skill wise, I think what Akram still is probably more skilled, but there's
But
an
just
argument
being compared,
achievement wise.
say, just being compared with Akram and potentially people saying you're as good or better or the best, that just yeah, Mitchell Stark is, and not having Cummins and Hazelwood. And I, again, as we discussed earlier, there was a whole talk with how they were hopeful and more encouraged by someone's absence. And Mitchell Stark must be sitting there saying, you have no idea what you're walking into.
Mhm.
I mean, this is you're coming to Australia, and I'm ready. So yeah, I can totally see.
Yeah.
Any particular moment that pops into your head, Jadan, for what the heck segment?
Yeah, again, probably coming back to what the heck? What the heck is Pope doing at number 3 even now after so many years? What the heck? uh, I just tried to look up some numbers. Sure, he's hit some hundreds, but been far and few. 20 runs for average on reasonably good Australian pitches. Sure, the first pitch was hard to bat on, but the second and third games were very good to bat on. Your number 3 cannot have an average of 20 or even lesser. The only thing I remember that he did well was actually very, very great was the first test match against India in India, right, in the last series, where he hit 180 odd. That was a masterclass in batting, but I think that was probably more exception to the rule. Um, I think he's very vulnerable when the ball's moving, when the ball's new, and as a number 3, you're supposed to be able to do that, just that,
Exactly.
right? Don't
Exactly.
make the damn runs. Just negotiate the new ball. I don't say Pujara didn't make runs, but he negotiated the new ball and he eventually made runs. So don't make the runs up front, negotiate the new ball and then make the runs. But your number 3 is not there. Roots exposed. For so many months, years, Root has been exposed. And still Root's doing so great. So yeah, what the heck? What the heck? What's Stoke doing? And why is he still having Pope at number 3? You don't have a better number 3.
Yeah.
That's what I don't understand.
So I have a very specific what the heck,
Yeah.
I think.
Of course.
And this was something that actually was discussed at length before the series began. And my what the heck was England's complete disregard to prepare for this series in preparing for this series.
Mm.
If you look at the matches that England played leading up to the series, right? There was, after obviously the test win against India, played 3 ODIs against South Africa, 3 T20s against South Africa, 3 T20s against Ireland,
Of
and
course.
three against Ireland, and 3 T20s against New Zealand. Two of them with no result. So, and then they played the Ashes, and then 3 ODIs with New Zealand, and then they played the Ashes. So I get that they already had a very big series, and I'm sure many of the players like Stokes, Archer, they put on a lot of miles in that series, so they needed rest. Then you got guys like not Brooke, like Pope and Crawley, especially Crawley. If you think about it, like what else are they doing during that period of time that's better than preparing for the Ashes in Australia? And just their lack of preparedness showed from the first innings, right? Their Crawley got out on a pair in the first test, right? So Duckett again like disappeared, right? This series.
Yeah.
So I think England's preparedness and everybody knowing that it would potentially be an issue, bringing it up before. And I've watched a couple of videos of Atherton and Nasser Hussain. They're like, well, like, yeah, I mean, if they were the coach, they wouldn't do it this way. They would obviously, send some of the lads to go
Sure.
prepare. But like Brendan McCullum does things a little differently. Maybe wants to have the players more relaxed, not tense, whatever. If it works out, you're a genius. If it doesn't, you're a fool. But I think in this case, I think he was a fool in either way, even if it worked out. It doesn't make sense not to send your batsman to Australia to play in some red ball cricket to at least it can't be the like Jacob Bethel. This is another reason why Jacob Bethel can't play, in my opinion. In the Ashes. He he has like what single digit number of test matches in his career, probably no red ball experience in Australia, zero red ball experience in Australia, and except for now these two matches against Australia A, and you're expecting him to go face Mitchell Stark in the Gabba under the lights with the pink ball. I mean, they didn't expect him to do that, so they didn't
Yeah.
play.
They didn't
But that
play.
applies for every single player in England's top order. Um, it just, especially in the Gabba, I think that was one of the most disappointing things that like you cannot face Mitchell Stark with the pink ball without ever having faced a pink ball in a test match before. That like Mitchell Stark bowling a pink ball to you cannot be your first time facing a pink ball in a match, in a test match.
I mean,
You know what I mean?
I
It just
remember.
can't, you're gonna fail.
Yeah. I remember, I think, a while in one of those tests, you're like, you might want to just declare your innings so that you can have Mitchell Stark bowl in, even if you're behind, you would declare so that you can get him to bowl. But your point is valid, is just disregard, I think is the word you use,
Yeah,
to
disregard.
prepare.
Yeah.
I think that's what the heck is that. Kind of
Yeah.
similar, reminded me of
I
our
mean,
conversation we had about India going
yeah.
to Australia
Yeah.
before playing the World Test Champions at home. Like so much of either is ignorance or arrogance.
I
I don't
think
know.
it's arrogance. I think Stokes, the sad thing is I think players like Stokes, Root, they don't need to prepare, in my opinion. Like if they don't go to Australia to prepare, it's like fine. They've proven it again and again that they can do it. Root obviously scored a century as well, so now that's off his back. Um, but especially like Crawley, Pope, Duckett, like those three names. What the heck are you playing for if it's not for these five matches? What the heck are you playing for if it's not if you lose the first test, you're not you're probably not going to win at the GABA under the lights with Mitchell Stark with the pink ball, right? This GABA anyways is hard enough. Mitchell Stark with the pink ball just makes it doubly hard. So then you know that the first test needs to be won, and just their lack of focus in batting was just I don't know,
Yeah. I
disappointing.
guess I guess
And what,
Gabba
like
was
once
the
you're down 2-0, only one team's ever come back from that. So the writing's on the wall after 2-0, right? They had to win the first test, and their bowling in the first innings was phenomenal, but their batting just across the board is
not good.
average.
When you think about Gabba, I just thought about this. It used to be a fortress and fortress until Rishabh Pant happened, maybe.
I think it's still a fortress.
Yeah, yeah. No, of course.
You know,
The
fortresses
exception
can be
proves the rule.
yeah,
Exception
yeah.
proves the rule. Definitely.
Just
Oh,
because bunt, and then of course the Shamar Joseph heroics, like
oh my
just
God. Oh
yeah,
my
just
God.
because those are anomalies, those are things that don't generally happen, and yeah, it's just
That spell from Shamar Joseph was
I
just
know it's I've
unbelievable.
watched the full spell,
Oh
like
my God. Oof. It's like tireless. He could have just, he was like a sprinter who was running marathon, if I
yeah.
can, say that. Unbelievable. I mean, where does it, let me ask you, where does England go from here? What happens next? Do you just play out the next two tests? Like, do you have nothing to lose? Do you continue your same approach? What do you do?
No, I think you have now the opportunity to rest a few players.
Hmm.
Have I don't know Bethel number three. I don't know how he's going to do, but uh, s- try a few different options. I don't think they can do much now, but for the fourth and fifth test matches, probably just have try a few options in batting. But beyond that, I still think the approach is good. I think the implementation is not so good. The tests matches are more entertaining now because of England. So hats off to them for that.
Yeah.
But they are losing more now, right? They take the draw out of the equation. Um, they lose more. So I think they just have to have a long, hard thought about how they want to go forward. Are these their long term top three, or do they want to change? Personally, I think they should. So I don't think they should change the approach, but I think they should probably change the personnel. This is what I feel. Uh, yeah, what do you think?
So, I mean, for me, then this is more a feel kind of thing, is when I see this English team playing together, I don't feel they're playing as a team.
I think you were right in the sense that every player on England is trying very hard, but they're not working
That's,
together.
yeah, that's what
That
I
and
meant.
I do agree. I do agree with that. And I don't know. You can see Stokes. I think they all respect Stokes as a
Yeah.
captain. I
Yeah.
think the team is actually tight knit in many ways. I think they do
As individuals,
as
yes,
individuals. I think there isn't actually too much friction. You
possibly.
didn't see it much on the field, right? Like there was frustration, yeah, but there wasn't any mutiny, right?
True.
Everyone knew who was
That's
in
true.
charge. There wasn't panic either. I didn't feel like they were panicking. They were just a worse team.
Skills. Maybe you're right, actually. It eventually
Yeah,
boils down to, aptitude, skills. I don't know what it is about them, almost the opposite of Australians, right?
Yeah.
What is the phrase they use? A fabric of the team, right? You don't feel they're all like connected somehow together. They feel like, individuals trying to do their individual thing. Give you an example of Jofra Archer, right? I don't know. I mean, he's a great bowler, right? Lot of potential, can deliver. But at one point, I think during this test, when he came on to bowl at a certain session, Mark Waugh and those commentators were saying he has to go flat out. Mitchell Stark last night for me, I should say, was 147 clicks, right? He was bowling fast and furious. Jofra Archer is there, but I don't feel like they're all working together as a team. I don't know what it is, and you can't get a better captain than Ben Stokes, who's fully
Yeah.
invested in it. So
Totally vested in
what
it.
is missing? Like, are there people who feel like something is missing there? Maybe too much casualness. I don't know, but
Or
I
do they not buy
wish.
into his philosophy anymore?
Correct.
Maybe they have
Exactly.
started
Are there
losing so much.
doubts? Are there
Yeah.
some
Other
people
doubts.
thinking maybe this is not the way to go? Obviously, nothing succeeds like success, as they say. So nothing actually feels like failure. So you start having doubts. But for a while, I feel this team doesn't look like, a team playing together. And that's not
It's
just for
interesting.
them, but
Yeah.
that's what I feel about England. So,
Yeah, it's interesting you brought up Archer, right? Because I've had the same feeling, as you said. It's about more about feeling, right? With Archer, I think I'm not even sure if he. I'm not saying he doesn't give us 100%, but I don't think he goes full throttle. Maybe he's worried about recurring injury or whatever it is. I don't know, but it just doesn't seem that he's full throttle. I think he can do so much better if he bowls like I don't know, Stark or even Siraj, right? They just go full throttle, right?
yeah,
They give it everything.
they give
Maybe he's
everything.
worried about his body breaking down again. I'm not sure.
So I didn't look at it like Mark Wood. Is he injured still? Yeah, but that one bowler when he comes on to bowl, he
Exactly.
falls down all the time, meaning he's giving so much, but he gets
Yeah.
up and gets going and he bowls. I
Yeah.
remember a
That's the
while
exact
ago
opposite. What is the exact opposite example? Yeah.
of Archer. I remember there was one test a few years ago when all he had to do, quote unquote, was keep bowling bouncers, and that takes one bouncer takes so much out of you. He just kept running in, keep bowling those. I mean, that to me is commitment to a strategy, putting your body on the line. So I think they need to
That's what
figure out.
Stoke does.
Yeah. I mean, hats off to him. So funnily, maybe the most valuable player in a sense in World Test cricket maybe right now is Ben Stokes. If you have to pick
Yeah, he
one
is.
player in your
He
team, you
is.
will pick Ben Stokes, who's going to give you everything. Is a lefty batter who's going to give you quick runs if needed, can stay there, a leader and a bowler, and with attitude and aptitude together. So next is the fun segment, which is the umpire's call.
Yeah, I think yeah. So selecting Kishan instead of Jitesh and dropping Gill, is that the right call?
I mean, the thing with about Gill, it might actually benefit him. I feel he can look at that. I'm just thinking out loud here. He could take that as an opportunity, right? Rather than just getting burned down potentially. Maybe he's physically a little vulnerable. I don't know whether this whole freak injury that happened played a role in it. And Ishan Kishan, I don't know, unless if he has changed his approach, there was a lot of promise. But I again, at least for a bit, I felt he was pretty one-dimensional. You could easily figure him out.
Figure
But a lefty wicketkeeper opener, I could see that. So Not majorly surprised, actually. Our team is strong enough there with Abhishek Sharma at the top. So yeah, I think for Gill this might be an opportunity than anything else, just to figure things out.
Yeah, I think Gill's probably. I do get why they want him to be in the T20. They wanted him to be in the T20 team. They probably want the Kohli out of him. But I think that the way the culture of the team is, the way the team approaches batting or T20 game is at a higher gear than what uh, Gill currently provides.
Yeah,
It may sometimes backfire on you, but more often than not, if you have Hardik Pandya coming at 6 or 7, then you can take that risk up front, right? So,
yep.
um, yeah. So, and the only thing I feel is what wrong did Jitesh do to not be part of this? I think it was probably combination. If you are getting Samsung to open and you wanted to put in Ishan Kishan as a backup opener, or I don't know,
It's like a
then
sacrifice, right? You have to sacrifice someone.
so that is bad for me. I think Jitesh should have been given a longer rope, but I think Gill's call was probably the right call. Yeah.
Here's the thing with Gill. I think, I mean, it's definitely fair because there are a lot of good T20 batsmen, opening batsmen in India. And I think Mama made a good point that Gill's game isn't volatile. I mean, he's a very, very, don't get me wrong, like he's a very stylish, fun to watch player. He's very talented, amazing, right? I mean, when he turns it on, he can go at that 200 strike rate plus clip. I just think I don't think anyone is going to necessarily say we lost the World Cup because we didn't have Shubman. You know, I don't
Yeah,
think that conversation will happen either, though.
got you.
So I don't think by any means he was just like a shoo-in into the team that like, oh yeah, just get Shubman into the team. But if they did decide to do that, I wouldn't be like really raising my eyebrows either. Just maybe they wanna go. They have I think they have a plan in mind about how the team should function, and Gill isn't just it just isn't the player for that team. I think
Makes sense, actually. Yeah.
fair, but I think we'll see.
How
We
about
still have a
Ishan?
very strong. It's not like we're a weak team by any means. We are the reigning champions, right? So
How about your favorite Ishan Kishan?
Kishan. I mean, let's see. Let's see what he's about. I think he's been making runs domestic, so let's see what he can put on a show for us. Yeah.
Interestingly, when you were mentioning Shubman Gill, slight tangent, but I somehow remembered this one innings he had against Mumbai Indians actually in IPL. Was it one of the IPL final when he just
Yep.
took away the entire? I mean,
Well, it
he
was the
was
I think it was the
unstoppable.
semis against
Semi,
Mumbai, where Tim David dropped his catch on the
yeah.
boundary when he was on. I think he might have been just before 100 or just after 100, but the match was still like it
Yeah.
could have gone our way if we had taken the wicket, but he dropped an absolute dolly and
And he just kept
the rest
hitting.
is
That
history.
he was unstoppable,
Yeah.
Shubman Gill in that match. So I
Yep.
think
Yep.
the point is fair. Is explosiveness. There are players who are like really explosive. I mean, it's a dash, 20 over dash. So
Yeah.
we'll definitely maybe next time pick up the T20 World Cup topic.
Yeah,
But
maybe
yeah,
we could have one session just on that. Maybe also have some other teams release their
squads.
squads and maybe go through.
So actually, it was fun to watch Ashes. We're still looking forward to Melbourne test, and just to wrap up, we were at the Boxing Day test last year to watch
Yeah, I'm
India
jealous.
Australia. That was a lot of fun. So you know, good thing is the great thing actually is Test cricket is well and alive when it's happening in Australia and England.
Yeah,
I think
in
it's
England.
really awesome to see. The spectators are in it. Bami Army is there. They love the Test side of cricket. I mean, we love all of it, but it's good
Yeah.
to see Test cricket well and alive. So, Yeah. Any other thoughts, Jadan, before we wrap up?
No, I think I'm good. Yeah, I just hope that with England showing some fight, nothing to lose. You never know. The fourth match might be the most competitive yet, or they might just give up. So I just hope for the farmer, and looking forward to the Melbourne Test match. It's also in holidays, so can get more of watch more of
Boxing Day. Exactly.
it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
MCG. 90,000, whatever, 80, 90,000 people. That's amazing. So I guess we'll touch base again next week for another
Yep.
episode of Cow Corner.